Hi, and welcome to an episode of the JetRails podcast. I'm Robert Rand, your host for the day. Today, we're going to be talking to you about best practices for e-commerce development in relation to quality control, quality assurance. I'm joined by a couple of members of the team at DCKAP, Karthik and Bhavani, and we're going to get to talk about their experiences, including as they've created and are managing a product called QA Touch that's built to help to standardize and improve the quality control of web development for platforms like Magento. And I'll turn over the floor. Bhavani, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Hi, Robert. And I have around 16 plus years of experience in TA, and I am handling the K-Touch product from the beginning for the past 2 years, and we have launched. And it is a really exciting journey for me also as well. And from the quality perspective, since I had a prominent experience in QA, so I'm glad to work in the product management also.
Excellent. And Karthik, I know we've known each other for a while. I wanted to make sure that I was chivalrous, ladies first, But Karthik, I know that you are really a driving force behind DCKAP, and would you mind telling us a little bit about your background and experience in the e-commerce industry, and both on the agency side and moving into QA Touch as a product?
Oh, definitely. First off, thanks for having us on this episode, Robert. Great to meet you, and yeah, we have known each other for a long time. And I also admire you quite a bit because every conference I go to, I see you, and that's where we actually met. And hey, there's this person I meet at every conference, and that person's name is Robert.
Well, I try. I get some of those frequent flyer miles, that's for sure.
That's awesome, yeah. So yeah, just to give you some background about DCKAP, we started in 2005. We just started with 2 desks, 2 computers, and 2 bright people. So the company was bootstrapped. So when we started, we really didn't know what we were doing. We were doing everything. And then along the way, we ran into this platform called Magento. And that was really interesting for us. That was like way back in 2008. And a little later, we decided that, hey, we don't want to do everything. Let's focus on one thing and let that be Magento. So that was actually a great strategy for us as a company. And then as we moved along, we expanded into other platforms as well, like Shopify, Shopify Plus, BigCommerce, SAP Hybris, Salesforce Commerce. So we are kind of platform agnostic now as a company. And as you know, one of our biggest assets at DCKAP is our people. And we have an awesome team. So that's when we started creating products, and that's been a really, really great journey since. So Bhavani, she spearheads the QA Touch product, and she's awesome. And every time we work with the client really loves her, and they always say, hey, I need Bhavani to be working on my project. And so we thought to ourselves, hey, what can we do to leverage this expertise and experience? So as a team, right? So the entire quality assurance team is actually awesome. We have some really, really smart people in addition to Bhavani. So she was leading the QA team then. And then we kind of brainstormed as a team. And the people in the team actually came up with this idea, hey, why don't we launch a test management solution? And that's how it actually started. And then Bhavani came on to manage that. Yeah, so that's
very interesting. And I know that you so you mentioned you started 2 people with some skill sets and built from there. At this point, you've got staff in multiple locations and certainly a lot of growth. Where is the team actually distributed today?
Oh, definitely, right. So we are distributed primarily between the US and in Chennai in India. So majority of the team is in Chennai, and we have a lean team in the US. Yeah. So
Excellent. And I know that as a company, you've been flexing into offering SaaS products of your own, in essence. So you now have this QA Touch product, but what are some of the other products that have been developed or that are, I don't know if there are any sneak peeks, but anything else that's been in production?
Oh, thanks for asking. Actually, one of the first products we built is called Productimize, which is a product configuration platform. So that is actually an excellent product in terms of it really helps customers using Magento or Hybris or Shopify or BigCommerce tie-in. Essentially, if you want to configure or customize and buy. So it's a product customizer. So we have some really large enterprise clients using the product. So that's a product called Productimize. And another product which we are extremely excited about is an integration platform that's called Chorus, Cloud Rapid Automation System. So that's what Chorus is all about. And we are really excited about the product because that product solves a lot of problems for customers. And we have also been partnering with a lot of agencies and knowing the ecosystem of Magento and the other e-commerce ecosystems. It's actually made it easier for us to kind of partner with agencies because we know the who's who, and we work with pretty much a lot of the big agencies out there. So you can think of Chorus more like a MuleSoft kind of a thing where it integrates two systems together. And we have done a lot of work in the Epicor space with Profit 21, and we're also expanding into other ERPs like Eclipse and SAP B1, and you want to integrate that with Magento or BigCommerce or Shopify. And so we have bigger plans. So we are definitely excited about that. And just a couple of months back, we launched another product called FlexiPin, which is like a product information management system. So one of the big challenges we saw in the industry is managing product data and product information management. So so it's like a flexible PIM, so it's FlexiPIM.
It's interesting that I think that as an agency, it's phenomenal. You become more of a one-stop shop. You have products that you can really stand behind, that you can grow with your customers and they can grow with you. And it is that differentiator. So really interesting. And it's been interesting to watch the DCKAP brand evolve. I certainly love the logo, the rhinoceros that has come home with me. My daughter appreciates. I think that there's been a lot of smart thinking around differentiation and trying to stand out. With that in mind, I don't recall ever asking, but I love to ask on the podcast, where did the brand name come for your agency? How did you come to those initials?
Yeah, absolutely. I would call DCKAP more of a tech company than just an agency, right? So, and we are partnering with a lot of agencies for that matter, or other integration providers. So that's something, I feel really, really fortunate being able to work with a lot of the other agencies in the market. So when we started DCKAP, we wanted a really, really small name, and all the good names were taken. So with the .com, right? So we wanted a name with the .com on it. Like, let's say you say a Texas, hey, somebody took it already, or whatever sys it is, right? So systems and all that. So we made an acronym. So with my family initials, I'm DCKAP, so Dexterous, Creative, Knowledge, Aspiring People. So we just made it up.
Oh, that's great. No, that's fun. There's always a story. That's really, really interesting. So, I suppose we're going to have to talk a little bit about QA today, and I definitely want to give Bhavani a chance to teach me a few new things because I have that coming. Why don't we start talking a little bit about what should a development team be looking for in QA? What are the things that they should be testing for? What are the things that are going to impact the overall success of a project and health of the relationship with the client?
Actually, first, the developers have to unit test their whatever module developed by them, and as a team, they have to peer review their functionalities. For example, developer A has done one feature, means developer B has to review that and do the code review, and then the unit testing also had to be done by peers. So this way we are also doing. So it gives us a very great success.
Would you say, based on that statement, that maybe it's harder for a freelancer in some cases to go through the same QA because ideally in this model that you have a peer reviewing, so you have another set of eyes that can look at it in essence with a fresh set of eyes?
Actually, for the freelancers, they can leverage the code review tools we have. For example, in Magento platform, they have their code audit tools. We can leverage that to first make sure the coding standards are followed. And for the other platforms, we can, if they are writing the code in PHP or some other language, they can do the code review tools like SonarQube, etc.
Yeah, and in essence, I would imagine that there's a lot of things that that a developer that's going through this process should be looking for. What are some of the main things that that should be caught during a proper QA process?
For the proper QA process, after the developers sign off, first the QA we will do the smoke testing. We will call the basic core functionality is working or not. First, we will verify that. If that passes, then only the QA team will take up the task, take up the project, that build to do further testing. Otherwise, we will reject that build to the developers. So the developers has to be very cautious to make the smoke testing passed in their build whenever they commit the code.
Perfect.
That is very
important. So basically, make sure it works, and then make sure you're catching all the bugs and defects and vulnerabilities along the way. That's certainly logical from where I sit. And would you say that that there's a particular methodology? I know that I'm a fan of Agile, and certainly Scrum in terms of managing projects, having more of a continual cycle of improvement to a body of work, as opposed to necessarily the old-fashioned waterfall where the entire project is happening and then everything's potentially being tested at the end. From your perspective, do you have preferences of how that happens, and does it change the QA process at all, or maybe there's just more to catch if you do it all at once instead of doing it incrementally?
No. Actually, we are involving our QA team in the earlier phases of the project life cycle. It helps us a lot. Actually, now the QA is not only the QA team's job and the responsibility. In the Agile and Scrum world, the shift is going to, the responsibility is spearheaded to everyone in the team, and we are involving our QA team in the requirements collection phase itself. So they will know in each phase we will do the testing. Like in the initial, we will not have the screens, so we will review the requirements, and in the requirements itself we will find out the gaps. So it will save more time. Rather than at the end of the day, after completing the development, if we are finding a requirement gap, then it will take more time, and it will waste our resources also in the cost, in time as well as money. So we have started this practice, and it is very helpful for us.
Yeah, I think it's always a challenge sometimes when it comes to clients that aren't as familiar with these processes, that there's an expectation that automatically the first time something is written, it's perfect, that almost like they're buying a product, when code is really a mix of art and science, that it's language. So, that would be like saying that, that a novel that's written should never go in front of an editor, that it should, that an author should never make a grammatical or spelling error as they write a body of work. So, there's always that educational component sometimes in the industry, trying, even sometimes with some dev teams and agencies, educating sales team members, account managers, management team members and project managers, just of what to expect and what normal is. Trying to find code that never needs anything adjusted after code review, I think would certainly be difficult. And pivoting a little bit toward your platform, is your platform sort of completely set up from the ground up, or does the developer need to adjust certain things around their own coding standards?
Actually, it is based on the platform. We are working on Magento, BigCommerce, and Shopify. So each e-commerce platform, it has its own standards. We are following the standards based on the platform's language. For example, in Shopify, we are using Shopify using Ruby on Rails. So,
but I think you're referring to the QA platform.
Yeah.
Is that the right question?
Yeah, in essence.
In QA platform, it is a test management solution for running each and every phase of testing lifecycle in the project or product. Even you can track the requirements, and you can. It is a one-stop repository for maintaining all your test assets in the QA platform. Okay, then we will have the test coverage. You can find out the test coverage with the RTM. We will usually call this RTM. It is called requirement traceability matrix. With that, we can map the requirements and test cases so that everyone in the team will know what are all the test cases has been covered for this requirement or not. Mm-hmm. So that our RTM will be automatically built for you when you create requirements and test cases and map them. So it will be automatically created by our QA touch.
And as bugs and issues are found, and then I would imagine documented, your system is going to help to keep the workflow proper for implementing fixes, and then for retesting, I suppose, to make sure that those are working properly and perhaps not disrupting anything else, because as we all know, fix one problem, fix one leak and another springs up. That certainly, it can be important to retest a body of work after changes are made. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, for testing, and you can report issues directly from on the fly from our product itself. We have our own inbuilt issue tracking model. So you can even record your issue in audio, and you can save it. So it will be, if a particular issue, a test case has been failed, so we can post an issue from that test case execution itself. So the test case and that requirement as well as the issue, all three are linked. You can have the report. We are providing the report to identify that case traceability summary report. So you will be able to know which requirement has been mapped with that which test case, and which test case has been failed and the issue is raised. So the complete flow will be covered in that one report. Apart from our internal issue tracker integration, we are providing integrations for Jira Cloud, Trello, as well as GitLab and GitHub also. Bitbucket, also we are providing the integrations.
So that's fantastic. So that really helps a team to build this into their workflow, into their existing processes and systems, so that it's much more trackable as part of an overall project plan, as part of an overall system of assignment and tracking. So I like all the integrations. Would you say that there are there some form of analytics that help to tell how developers are doing in terms of the quality of their coding? And I've always found that, especially, let's say, when you're using Scrum, that you have small teams and that they are peer reviewing and they're learning as they go. That it's part of what the team is there to do, is to lift each other up and help each other to excel and to grow. Would you say that through your systems that's anticipated as part of the process, and maybe, if anything, that are there extra reporting mechanisms or extra insights that someone might find through a system like yours?
Yeah, we are having powerful reports. We have dashboards, and as well as we are having the public dashboard. We have recently launched that. So for each team member, you can take the activities report, exactly what they have done in the test management solution. So it will be easier for us, a team lead or manager, to monitor their tasks and how much they have delivered. So it will be eye opener for them. Instead of preparing, even I am taking myself as an example, I have used Excel sheet or Google Sheets before using QA Touch. So before we developing QA Touch, I have used a couple of other test management tools, open source only. But based on that experience, we have developed this tool, and I am finding very handy. Instead of preparing a report to send, it will take more time earlier. Now it is automated. Usually I was preparing manually those reports. Now it is automated, so my time is saved, right? So the same time, how I am saving the time, similarly our clients also will save the time.
Very interesting. So I do find it to be an interesting area, because a lot of people focus so much on conversion rate optimization and marketing and various integrations and other things, but quality, everything always comes back. I imagine that you'll be iterating and continuing to add new features and integrations, continuing to work on this particular product now that it's out in the world. Anything new on the horizon that's particularly interesting coming out with QA Touch?
Yeah, we are actually working on the few more integrations, continuous integrations with Jenkins, Circle City, and Lighthouse integration also we are working on it.
Excellent. Well, I really do appreciate all the insight into QA. And into what your team's been up to. Karthik, I know I'm going to plan to see you at Meet Magento New York next week, as long as we can still get flights out of South Florida. I know that I'm keeping an eye on a hurricane that's heading this way, but always a pleasure. Any final thoughts to share?
Well, I just want to say a big thank you, Robert. I think it's been great to be chatting with you on the show, and also great to do this together with Bhavani. It's the first time I'm doing it, so I definitely enjoyed it a lot. And also, I just want the audience and you to try QA Touch for free for the first 30 days. So it's very easy to sign up, www.qatouch.com, and you can sign up for an account in like a couple of minutes, and then start using it, and you will love it.
That's perfect. Can't ask for more than that. So with that, a big thank you, Bhavani, Karthik. Fantastic to have you on the show. I hope we get to showcase you again in the future. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the JetRails podcast. Feel free to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us through social media, where you'll learn about podcasts as they are made available, and other very interesting materials that we get to share with the community. And feel free to be in touch if you have any questions about any of our shows, about this episode, or have suggestions for the future. So thank you, and happy selling.